what worries me too, I guess, should we're Yankees fans, I think is the bullpen. I mean, at times when Chapman is gone and you're dying to have Aroldis Chapman back, but Chapman has been inconsistent as well this year. So that kind of shows me that the bullpen is thin and you don't really have an answer in the ninth inning. Even when it is Chapman, he has had occasionally, we have seen him blow games. We have seen him some heartbreaking losses for the Yankees at the hands of Aroldis Chapman. So that's a concern. When he's not pitching, I mean, he has to pitch in the ninth because you saw what happened when they put Zach Britton in the ninth inning, and he obviously gave up the ball and doesn't want to pitch in that spot anymore. Chad Green has been okay, but I think overall the bullpen has been maybe the most concerning because in the playoffs in October, the bullpen is so important for success. I really do believe that. And if it's going to be shaky when you're giving the ball to Chapman in the ninth, especially when the offense might not break out and only put up, let's say, 3 or 4 runs, and it's a 1-run game in the ninth inning. I don't know. I think all Yankees fans are incredibly nervous down the road watching Chapman complete a save in the postseason, which shouldn't be the case with your closer, with your guy in the ninth inning. So for me, and then it goes down the list to Zach Britton and others as well. There have been bright spots like Loaisiga and others, but overall, I think this bullpen is a little scary come October.
Yeah, it's very interesting because a lot of these Yankee teams that have been, surrounded by the same core bats, the bullpen was always so strong, but now, it's kind of faded a bit that some of the core pieces have left. But I think I always will have a bone to pick with Chapman. For one reason, it's because as Yankee fans, you were spoiled with Mariano Rivera. There's nothing like that. But, I mean, this guy is supposed to be spectacular, and a lot of times he is, Chapman. He's untouchable. But he's also just a total head case. And that's the exact opposite of what you need coming in the ALCS bottom of the ninth. You're up 4-3. You don't need him. He will lose you a game in a way. As much as he can win you a game, he will lose you a game just as easy. And he's, it's difficult because he also, he gets hurt, but he comes back. He shows dominance. He made the All-Star game solely off of his early dominance in this season. And then I believe he gave up 9 runs total through his next 3 appearances after that. So it's inconsistency with him too. And I almost worry more about Chapman in the bullpen than any of the rest of the guys because Chapman is the go-to guy in the ninth. It's the closer. You have other guys that can step up, like you said, Zach Britton. He clearly didn't get the job done. But you have other guys that can come in, fill roles. You have a lot of bullpen guys who hopefully one guy comes in and gets the job done. If it doesn't, it's on to the next. But Chapman is that guy who I do think, if I had to pick a biggest concern, it might be him in the playoffs. You can look back to the Rays. You can look back to the Astros. The Yankees have got sent home on walk-off home runs given up by Chapman in big playoff games and big playoff spots. So, in my opinion, that might be my biggest concern, Aroldis Chapman come playoff time, because he has not been, this dominant closer for us that we traded away and helped win the Cubs World Series. He did almost blow that, but still, came through, helped them out, we get him back, and he's done the exact opposite for us come those big moments. So, he might be my biggest concern here.
Yeah, I feel like he's had such similar career trajectory as Craig Kimbrell. Like, those guys kind of pioneered that, 100-mile plus, the closer that just would shut you down. And I remember the 2018 run with the Red Sox where Craig Kimbrell was the, presumed guy. But there were just so many appearances where he struggled to, come into the ninth inning and shut the other team down. And I remember the last game of the World Series, who did they bring in to get the last out? It wasn't Craig Kimbrell, but it was Chris. And I think that was because, the Red Sox just didn't have some of the other pieces that the Yankees have right now. And, some people have tossed out this idea. I don't ultimately see it happening. But, Nick, I'm curious if you think a guy like Loaisiga could be the answer for the ninth inning. Is that something that you see as realistic?
It's interesting because I like Loaisiga. I really do. I think you got to test it. That's the only way. Don't test it during the playoffs, of course. But, if you have a game, maybe give him a 3-run close opportunity to start. Nothing too crazy here, but because I really do like Loaisiga. He comes in and has a lot of good stuff more often than not. I used to think it was Zach Britton because he was fantastic for Baltimore for a few years. But I don't think he's like that anymore after a couple surgeries. But, I I would be willing to give Loaisiga a shot, but I think, there's got to be some sort of tipping point with Chapman where he really just, I don't know, I think gets on the nerves of every fan, every player, every coach, whatever it is, where, okay, shut him down for a bit. Hopefully he learns from seeing someone else go out there and do his job.
That could be the call.
Because, again, he's so dominant, Chapman, when he's on his game. I don't know how anyone even comes close to touching his pitches. But when he's not, he's more his own worst enemy than the batter in the box. So I wouldn't be opposed to Loaisiga getting a chance. But I think for now, again, you gotta hope and stick with Chapman to really be that guy.
What we're talking about here, a couple things I thought of while you guys were having that conversation is that, first of all, the fact that we are talking about concerns come October is a huge growth and development for this Yankees team, because there were doubts a couple months ago that this team would even be playing in October, that this team would even be in position. And it's shown recently the kind of run that it took for the Yankees to jump themselves into playoff consideration. It's an incredible run. I mean, the run they're on now. So we've talked a little bit about, kind of the negatives surrounding maybe, will the offense be more consistent, or is the bullpen going to hang on? And of course, the starting pitching doing everything they can. But the fact is, I mean, they are playing really good baseball right now. And there's something to be said about momentum in baseball. That's something that I think affects baseball more than almost any other sport, especially game to game, because you play every single night. So you get on a run and all of a sudden you're extremely confident. And you're seeing the confidence from Aaron Judge. You're seeing the confidence from Giancarlo Stanton and others, and Luke Voigt as well, not giving up his spot. And then even Anthony Rizzo and Joey Gallo helping out that lineup as well. So you're seeing the confidence from this Yankees team that I don't see them stopping anytime soon. I mean, you see the White Sox series as a good example for me. They've played some okay to mediocre to bad teams during this stretch, but they've also played the White Sox and the Boston Red Sox, two good teams, two potential playoff teams, and they've handled business completely. I mean, they probably should have swept the White Sox series. They did sweep the Red Sox series. So that kind of shows that, to me, this is kind of an immovable object that this Yankees run is just on right now, that I don't see anyone really stopping